A man sits in a wooden boat with a mast on the edge of the Colorado River in the Black Canyon, Mojave County, Arizona. At this time, photographer Timothy O'Sullivan was working as a military photographer for Lieutenant George Montague Wheeler's U.S. Geographical Surveys west of the 100th meridian. Photo taken in 1871 from Expedition Camp 8, looking upstream. O'Sullivan's pictures were among the first to record the prehistoric ruins, Navajo weavers, and Pueblo villages of the Southwest. Paiute Indian group near Cedar, Utah, in 1872. In contrast to the Asian and Eastern landscape fronts, the subject matter he focused on was a new concept. Twin Buttes stand near Green River City, Wyoming, photographed in 1872. It involved taking pictures of nature as an untamed, pre-industrialized land without the use of landscape painting conventions. Members of Clarence King's 40th Parallel Survey team, near Arena, Nevada, in 1867. O'Sullivan above all, O'Sullivan captured, for the first time on film, the natural beauty of the Paiute Indian group near Cedar, Utah, in 1872. The Pyramid and Domes, a line of dome-shaped tufa rocks in Pyramid Lake, Nevada, seen in 1867. The completion of the railroads to the west following the Civil War opened up vast areas of the region to settlement and economic development. Panoramic view of tents and a camp identified as Camp Beauty, rock towers and canyon walls in Canyon de Chelly National Monument, Arizona. Tents and possibly a lean-to shelter stand on the canyon floor, near trees in Talus. Photographed in 1873. White settlers from the east poured across the Mississippi to mine, farm, and ranch. Old Mission Church, Zuni Pueblo, New Mexico. View from the plaza in 1873. African American settlers also came west from the deep south, convinced by promoters of all-black western towns that prosperity could be found there. Boat crew of the picture at Diamond Creek. Photo shows photographer Timothy O'Sullivan, fourth from left, with fellow members of the Wheeler Survey and Native Americans, following ascent of the Colorado River through the Black Canyon in 1871. Chinese railroad workers further added to the diversity of the region's population. Browns Park, Colorado, 1872. Settlement from the east transformed the Great Plains. Shoshone Falls, Snake River, Idaho. A view across top of the falls in 1874. The huge herds of American bison that roamed the plains were virtually wiped out, and farmers plowed the natural grasses to plant wheat and other crops. A man sits on a rocky shore beside the Colorado River in Iceberg Canyon, on the border of Mojave County, Arizona, and Clark County, Nevada in 1871. The cattle industry rose in importance as the railroad provided a practical means for getting the cattle to market. Timothy O'Sullivan's darkroom wagon, pulled by 4 mules, entered the frame at the right side of the photograph, reached the center of the image, and turned around, heading back out of the frame. Footprints lead from the wagon toward the camera, revealing the photographer's path. Photo taken in 1867, in the Carson Sink, part of Nevada's Carson Desert. Twin Buttes stand near Green River City, Wyoming, photographed in 1872. The mining town of Gold Hill, just south of Virginia City, Nevada, in 1867. The loss of the bison and growth of white settlement drastically affected the lives of the Native Americans living in the West. A wooden balanced incline used for gold mining at the Illinois mine in the Pahranagat Mining District, Nevada in 1871. An ore car would ride on parallel tracks connected to a pulley wheel at the top of tracks. In the conflicts that resulted, the American Indians, despite occasional victories, seemed doomed to defeat by the greater numbers of settlers and the military force of the U. In 1867, O'Sullivan traveled to Virginia City, Nevada to document the activities at the Savage and the Gould and Curry mines on the Comstock Lode, the richest silver deposit in America. Working 900 feet underground, lit by an improvised flash, a burning magnesium wire, O'Sullivan photographed the miners in tunnels, shafts, and lifts. The head of Canyon de Chelly, looking past walls that rise some 1,200 feet above the canyon floor, in Arizona in 1873. Government. Headlands north of the Colorado River Plateau, 1872. By the 1880s, most American Indians had been confined to reservations, often in areas of the West that appeared least desirable to white settlers. Native American, Paiute, men, women and children sit or stand and pose in rows under a tree near probably Cottonwood Springs, Washoe County, Nevada, in 1875. The cowboy became the symbol for the West of the late 19th century, often depicted in popular culture as a glamorous or heroic figure. The junction of Green and Yampa Canyons, in Utah, in 1872. The stereotype of the heroic white cowboy is far from true, however. Nearly 150 years ago, photographer O'Sullivan came across this evidence of a visitor to the West that preceded his own expedition by another 150 years, a Spanish inscription from 1726. This close-up view of the inscription carved in the sandstone at Inscription Rock, El Morro National Monument, New Mexico reads, in English, "By this place passed Ensign Don Joseph de Paiva Vasconcelos, in the year in which he held the council of the kingdom at his expense, on the 18th of February, in the year 1726. The first cowboys were Spanish vaqueros, who had introduced cattle to Mexico centuries earlier." Aboriginal life among the Navajo Indians. Near Old Fort Defiance, New Mexico, in 1873. Black cowboys also rode the range. The Canyon of Loder, Colorado, in 1872. Furthermore, the life of the cowboy was far from glamorous, involving long hard hours of labor, poor living conditions, and economic hardship. View of the White House, ancestral Pueblo Native American, Anasazi, ruins in Canyon de Chelly, Arizona, in 1873. The cliff dwellings were built by the Anasazi more than 500 years earlier. At bottom, men stand and pose on cliff dwellings in a niche and on ruins on the canyon floor. Climbing ropes connect the groups of men. The myth of the cowboy is only one of many myths that have shaped our views of the West in the late 19th century. The Nettie, an expedition boat on the Truckee River, western Nevada, in 1867. Recently, some historians have turned away from the traditional view of the West as a frontier, a meeting point between civilization and savagery, in the words of historian Frederick Jackson Turner. Man bathing in Pagosa Hot Spring, Colorado, in 1874. They have begun writing about the West as a crossroads of cultures, where various groups struggled for property, profit, and cultural dominance. A distant view of Santa Fe, New Mexico, in 1873. Think about these differing views of the history of the West as you examine the documents in this collection. Myman, a Mojave Indian, guide and interpreter during a portion of the season in the Colorado country, in 1871.